Welcome to the Philadelphia Sports Table Podcast Show, the longest running weekly Philly sports podcast show in the world. Hope you're all doing well out there. I'm Jeff Warren. I'm here with my good buddy, Eric Leonard, as we have embarked here on YouTube for those who are watching us on our 12-year anniversary last month. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, it's great to be in your ears. We got a great show coming to you this week. Buddy, how you doing, man?
I'm tired, man.
Yes, we both are, man. We've had a rough day. It's like almost 11 o'clock here on Wednesday night, May 21st, and we're dishing out the content for you folks. We're doing it.
Maybe for the show, we dished out our days today, and it was like, my God, man! What did my dad always say? Father's work is never done. It's just
my dad would say. My dad's was worse, actually. My dad would go. A man's work is never done. I'd be like, oh God, Dad. I even knew that was awful.
Is that like, was part of the day that was never done? Was you like ironing your clothes and your underwear, Dad?
Exactly.
That kind of stuff.
With an apple in your mouth. Man's work is never done.
I have many memories of trying to watch TV and looking back at my dad's in his boxers and nothing else, ironing his clothes for the week. It's like, can you go upstairs, please? Good God.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No, got a lot of great stuff coming to you this week, folks, in terms of our agenda here. But I do have to say, before we get into that, Eric, man, that AI tapestry you have back there is still fantastic. I think I'm going to mention it on every single show, just so the people who are listening on audio come over to YouTube here and check it out, because it is freaking awesome. It's just great.
It really is. I mean, just the attitude on his face.
Yes.
I mean, he kind of was the cornerstone of that era in terms of the attitude and the profile, and just that just says it all. It's the best. And he started it, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Dr. J started
in the next generation. Yeah.
Yeah, you hardly ever saw Iverson with his afro out. Like, you never saw it. He always had like some sort of like cornrows or something like that going on with his hair. You never hardly saw the afro.
He always looked so much cooler and harder when he had the fro out. It was very often, but or not very often, but that's my favorite version of AI right there.
Yep. All right. Well, everybody, we're going to get into the show here. We're going to start off by doing our segment This Week in Philly Sports History. And then from there, we're going to get into some NFL and Eagles talk and some general football talk as well. Of course, we're going to talk about the Tush Push and the fact that it has survived and it will be played by the Philadelphia Eagles and possibly other NFL teams this coming season and beyond. Also, news came out that the NFL is going to be allowing its players to play flag football in the 2028 Olympics. We're going to dive into that. Then we're going to get into some Sixers and NBA talk, as this postseason has been absolutely incredible to watch, as we're in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals right now. And in terms of the Sixers talk, just want to get into a brief discussion. If we think this team can actually make a push this upcoming season, now that they have the number 3 overall pick in the draft, if they do keep that pick, what that means for the young core and talent on this team for the future and for this upcoming season. And then what we're throwing down on the table this week, got a great discussion with our good friend Liz Roscher from the Hittin Season podcast and the Society for American Baseball Research, SABR. She's going to join us to discuss this Phillies team and a lot of storylines that we're following with them throughout this 2025 season. But we're going to be asking the question, who is this Phillies team? Like, what is their identity from a batting, pitching perspective? We got a great discussion coming with Liz. So, Eric, let's get started with This Week in Philly Sports History. And I've got 4 here that I want to mention. We're going to go back to May 15th, 1975, Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. The Flyers defeated the Buffalo Sabres 4-1, really setting the tone for their eventual championship victory and winning the Stanley Cup that year. Then we moved to just a few years later, May 17th, 1979, in a wild slugfest at Wrigley Field in Chicago. Philadelphia Phillies ended up beating the Chicago Cubs by a score of 23-22 in 10 innings. Mike Schmidt had 2 home runs in that game, a game that featured a total of 11 home runs and 50 hits. I would have loved to have seen that game. And then we're going to talk about real quick here, May 15th, 1982. Look, I was only 5 years old at the time. I think you were 6. But the Philadelphia 76ers secured a very narrow 99-97 playoff victory against the Celtics. And it was a significant win during their journey to the NBA Finals that year. And then finally, just a few years ago, May 22nd, 2021, at the time, Philly's first baseman, Rhys Hoskins, he hit his 100th career home run in his 450th game. He became the 4th fastest player to reach that milestone with the Philadelphia Phillies, following Ryan Howard, Jim Thome, and Chuck Klein. So that is this week in Philly sports history. I got to tell you, May 17th, 1979. I mean, I was 2 years old at the time, Eric, but my gosh, a baseball game that finished 23-22 in 10 innings. 11 homers and 50 hits. That's freaking crazy. I would have loved to have seen that game.
And the greatest Philly of all time, Michael Jack Schmidt, had 2 home runs that game.
Yes.
And that is probably the number one classic. If there's a rain delay going on, not now, not so much, but like back in the 80s, 90s, I would say late 80s, early 90s, if there was a rain delay on the Phillies broadcast, they would go and show the highlights from that classic 1979 game against the Cubs.
Yeah.
So I've seen the highlights 1,000 times. I never saw the actual game.
Yeah. No, I don't even know if they had it. Like, I don't even know if they have it in archives anywhere. I've never seen the game either.
It was on Instagram quite a bit. Some of the highlights today or yesterday. Yeah, I saw those. What was the first one again?
Very first one was the Flyers. It was May 15th, 1975. We weren't even born yet. Stanley Cup Finals, Game 1. Flyers beat the Buffalo Sabres 4-1. It set the tone. That game really set the tone for their eventual championship victory.
Man, that might as well be 1920 at this point.
Exactly. 1820.
The only thing I remember about that series, there was a game where there was a bat on the ice, and one of the players had to kill it.
Yes.
The bat wouldn't leave, and then when they did, no one wanted to pick it up.
Yeah.
And there was one game where it was like 80 degrees on the ice, and it was just fog. That's all I remember. Those are my Flyer highlights for the year. That's all I know.
There you go, folks. You got it from Eric right here. It's Flyers highlights. All right. Well, let's move along here with the discussion and show and talk about the news that came out today about the NFL owners taking the vote on the Tush Push, and the play has survived. The play survived when the owners voted 22-10. And what happened here, there were 22 owners that actually voted to ban it, folks. 10 teams that voted to keep it. They needed 24 votes in order to ban the Tush Push, and obviously did not get there. Just an amazing, in my opinion, overall bunch of wussies in this league that have come together to say, a team has perfected something. We don't like it because right now at this point in time, we can't stop it. So we are going to complain and try to make a rule change because of it. Eagles found a loophole about 4 years ago and have exploited that loophole. And we see this time and time again in various industries. Things are exploited all the time, but the Eagles have done something that I'm not sure any other NFL team has done necessarily, Eric, in the history of the NFL. Taking something, utilizing it time and time again, game after game, being successful with it, scoring touchdowns, getting first downs, to the point where other teams are absolutely baffled and after years and years have still not been able to stop it. But at the end of the day, stop it. You have to stop it. And somebody will. Somebody will at some point. They will figure it out, I think, because the league continues to evolve and things get figured out. This one's taking a long time. But it's just amazing to me what wusses some of these teams are to sit back and say, we got to ban this play because we don't like it. We don't like being taken to school by Philly here. And I'm glad we're going to still continue to see it. I was on the record this past year during some of our Eagles post-game shows. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they have stopped that play every now and again over the past few years. It seems like certain personnel figured some things out, or maybe the timing wasn't there by the Eagles, but I thought it was getting figured out and wasn't going to be as much of a tool for the Eagles to convert first downs and also to score touchdowns. But that kind of just went away. My thought process on that just obviously went away because it's still successful. So I don't know. Of course, I think we're all glad that the play is still around, but it really says a lot about NFL ownership, some of these teams, players, coaches, and just what wusses they are when it comes to something like this.
I mean, there's so many thoughts. One, I always hear about how much smarter the NFL is getting,
Yeah.
but yet how many Stonehenge defensive coordinators do we have? Big rockheads who can't figure out if it's just force against force.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult. Like our quarterback can bench like 800 pounds, and so can a running back, and he's behind him pushing, and it's legal, and our offensive line's massive.
Yeah.
Go figure it out, morons. Like I don't understand. Like there's pure jealousy, obviously, because other teams can't do it. I would love to see a cross section of the 22 nay votes and what are the dimensions of their quarterback. I mean, what kind of bird-chested, cinnamon stick-legged quarterback do they have that they can't do it themselves?
Right.
Like, I'm assuming the Packers voted no because their quarterback is what, 6'4", 150 pounds.
Yeah, like Jordan Love. Yeah, he's smaller than Jalen Hurts, I believe. Yeah,
I would just like to see like what some of these quarterbacks look like, and what's confusing to me is like it's such a copycat league. Every year, multiple teams pivot in terms of like concept for the season, in terms of like offense or defense based on the previous year or two, what championship teams have done, and when you have like a Patrick Mahomes, just Houdini on the field, like winning the championship, you can't copy that, right? Like,
yeah,
there's only one Patrick Mahomes in the league, so I understand why teams don't go like, well, we'll just draft a Patrick Mahomes and put mediocre receivers behind him, and he'll figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like with the Tush Push, it's like quarterback's huge offensive line. We get the ball on the 1 yard line. We're pushing it in. Why can't we figure that out?
Yeah.
Even if the quarterback can't squat 800 pounds, why don't you get a couple of linemen that are just like sumo wrestlers and just copy what we're doing?
Yeah.
It's led us to a championship, but yet you want to moan and groan. I'm not going to say it's like an anti-Philly Eagle thing, whatever. It's that them not copying that makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Like I understand like probably the old concept of football, like you're not allowed to push from behind. Well, they were doing that shit way back in the 50s and stuff. Like I watched old football. It's like it's almost harkened to back those old days. And I always thought football loved their history.
Yeah.
And it is a copycat league. That's why this bitterness is really strange to me. This is one I don't understand, the 22 nay votes and why they just can't kind of copy for themselves.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. And you also look at football too. The other aspect of this that I've been thinking about, Eric, is that you have NFL teams, you have teams in general in sports that work hard to do certain plays, to perform and generate certain plays on the field, on the ice, on the court, wherever it is. The Eagles have worked hard to implement this play to get it where it is at right now. And like you were just saying, to piggyback off what you were just saying, why can't these other teams work as hard, one, either to stop it or do it themselves? Draft large offensive linemen. Draft some really big guys that are athletic enough to do this. There are tons of big guys in the NFL, but they can't do it because they don't have the athleticism to do it. Jeff Stoutland, when he is part of the Eagles draft room and evaluation coming into each draft, wants athletic base guys that are big. There's a reason why they selected Cam Jurgens to take over Jason Kelsey's spot. There's a reason why Landon Dickerson took over left guard after Isaac Seumalo left in free agency and went to the Pittsburgh Steelers. These guys are extremely athletic. Yes, they're big, just like every other offensive lineman, but they're athletic, and they've worked hard to perfect this particular play and craft. And it's amazing to me that the NFL would come down on a team that works hard on a play to do it well, and will try to punish them for it. It's really bizarre to me.
It's jealousy. It's deceitfulness. Boogie Nights, Dirk Diggler.
Yes.
Yeah. It really is surprising to me. And I do, one of the reasons I do think, because of what I just stated, like it's such a copycat league, other teams could do it. The thing with the Tush Push, that's what we're calling it, right?
Yeah.
Is it has a slogan, it has a name, it gets top billing on ESPN whenever this story comes up, right?
Yeah, it's its own brand. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really difficult to create a brand around a single play anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure back in like 58, the Statue of Liberty was a big play, right? And every team did it, but we kind of started it. It's called the Tush Push. It's our thing. It's the Eagles thing.
Yeah.
And there's got to be some jealousy and deceitfulness on the other owners' parts that we started it and we branded it. And whenever the story comes up, it's always about the Eagles. It's not about anybody else. And the only other side of the story is if you vote against it, you're a whiny bitch.
Yeah.
Is kind of what the other side of the story is. So like, I would just try and copy it to not be on the whiny bitch side of the story.
Yeah, dude, you make a really good point about this, which I didn't think about, the branding of this particular play and the fact that no other team has a branded play. And now this is actually the second Eagles branded play. Now, let's not forget about the Philly special.
Mm-hmm.
There are 2 branded plays that the Philadelphia Eagles have in their arsenal. An amazing brand. No other team has it in the NFL. The Eagles have 2 of them right now, the Philly special and the Tush Push. Yeah, there you go. It's jealousy and deceitfulness.
Yeah, but in other teams did the Philly special. It's different degrees because college football's been doing it for years.
Yeah.
And the Philly special was just kind of a ripoff, like, like a Texas or SEC kind of play. But this is very singular to the Eagles. Yeah. And I do think it's just if we do it, we're copycat. But I'd rather be a copycat than a whiny bitch. Like I said,
yep.
This team shouldn't be able to do that, but they are. So what are you going to do now?
Exactly.
At least your response would be like, we're going to draft big defensive linemen and stop it. No, it's just this like whiny vote where you lose and you look even worse that you couldn't win a vote. 20.
Right.
All you need was 24 votes. You couldn't even get that.
Right. Right. Yeah. Unbelievable. All right. Well, we have some other NFL news and notes that we wanted to get into really quick here, because I read on a recent newsletter or something that news came out this week that the NFL is going to allow its players to try out for flag football at the 2028 Olympics. Wanted to give our thoughts on this too, and apparently the idea from owners to allow NFL players to do this, it's going to help the sport grow even more throughout the world. And apparently this is going to be a 5-on-5 sport. There's going to be 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 3 wide receivers, 1 player from each NFL roster may try out for the 2028 Olympic flag football team here. Eric, I cannot imagine a member of the Philadelphia Eagles trying out for this. Hypothetically speaking, if A.J. Brown's like, you know what, I want to give this a shot, I want to be an Olympian, and he like tears his ACL or gets some sort of horrendous concussion, separates his shoulder because of flag football. I could not imagine something like that happening. I wonder how many NFL players are going to be doing this. I'm serious. This is crazy to me. It's kind of nuts.
It's as dumb as getting hurt playing golf, which is just the stupidest thing. Like, whenever I hear of a golf injury, I'm like, what are you talking about? You just stand there and swing it, whatever.
Oh man.
And you know my feelings on golf, so
I know. You should go out with Jay and I sometime.
What a waste of time. What a waste of 5 hours.
Fun.
Not for 1 second. This is really dumb. I understand what the NFL is trying. I'm sure the NFL has something to do with this.
Yeah.
It's not this didn't just come up in the Olympic heads at like minds one day. Like,
yeah,
let's do 5-on-5 flag football. Like, no,
football.
There's no way. And I think it's cute that they're like any player can try out. Like, not one single like starter on any team is going to try out for this. Like,
Joe Burrow going to try out for this, or like
yeah. Or Jalen Hurts and Saquon going to try out?
Josh Allen, is he going to try out for this team?
No, okay. Your AJ Brown comment is a good one. Like, maybe he wants to get a gold medal, before who doesn't want to win a gold medal for their country, right? But it's in 5-on-5 flag football. I'm not saying gold some gold medals aren't worth more than others, but they certainly are. Let's just say it out loud.
Yes.
If you win the 100 meters, it is infinitely more important than a flag football gold medal. Now, if you compare it to basketball, an NBA gold medal, or a basketball gold medal in the Olympics is kind of a big deal because the rest of the world is so damn good at basketball now.
Yeah.
Like the Spain, Portugal, like there's so many good Argentina. There's really damn good teams. It's a legit competition. Like look at the last time the U.S. played France in the finals. Like that was outrageously a fantastic game. It took Steph Curry making like crazy three. I'm just saying, like that is one thing. This is not football. This is the kind of football kids play before they start tackle in like 7th grade. I'll say this though. I had the thought when I read the topic. If you're on the cusp of the roster, say for any team, right?
Yeah.
I am trying out for this with all my might to see if I can make the team, because what a story. No way a team's going to cut you if you make this flag football team for the U.S. and you win a gold medal, right?
Yes.
Like, and you're on a small contract, you might get re-signed. There's no way, even if that team didn't sign, you're going to get signed somewhere for at least 2 years. And you can use that. You can use those 2 years to make tons of money in advertising, try to make much money from the NFL as possible. If I'm like a fringe player, I'm going all out for this. If I'm not sure of my NFL future, this is probably the way to go.
Yeah. You're probably right. And I'm actually going to be interested. And that's what pisses me off. I'm actually going to be interested in watching this in 2028, at least one game to see what it's like. There's going to be other countries playing. It'll be interesting to see how they do.
Okay. How's Norway going to do against the U.S.? Like, seriously.
I know. I don't know. I don't know.
Because
is there training for this? I don't know.
I have no clue. And like, there's one quarterback, one running back behind you, right? And there's 3 receivers out.
Yeah.
I guess other countries could do well because there's not a ton of planning. You just kind of get it and throw the ball quick. I guess rugby players could do okay.
They could. Australia
good
might
rugby
be
teams.
Yeah.
But what is Pakistan going to do against the United States? I don't understand. Like,
who knows? Like Japan, they're going to have, India. Yeah, you're right. Who knows what these teams are going to do?
They might love football. I have no clue. I'm just thinking of like the teams that only do football in their country.
Right.
I can't imagine are going to do very well in this. So.
Well, we are going to be taking a break here, folks. But before we do, make sure you follow us on social media. If you're watching us here on YouTube, we've got our social media sites up here. Follow us on the Twitter/X. You can follow Eric at Brick Pollitt, me at Jeffrey_Warren, the show at Philadelphia PST. Eric and I are both over on Blue Sky as well. I'm there at Jeff Warren, again, with Eric at Brick Pollitt. You can like our Facebook page, search out the Philadelphia Sports Table. We are on Threads as well. You can search us out there. Instagram, and I'm over on TikTok at Mr. Jeff Warren. Again, give us a follow on any of these social media sites. Just search up the Philadelphia Sports Table. Search up Eric and myself on just about any platform, and you will find us. So that being said, we're going to take a quick break to pay some bills. We are going to be back in just a bit. All right, we're back here. And Eric, we got to dive into this NBA postseason here and a little bit of Sixers talk as well before we get into the Philadelphia Phillies. Let's get into some predictions here for how this Eastern Conference Finals are going to go and the Western Conference Finals as well. I think both of these series are going to go 7 games. I'm just going to say that right off the bat. I think you and I are going to differ in terms of who we think is going to win the Eastern Conference Finals. I am going with the New York Knicks. And I think you're going to be going with the Pacers, if I'm not mistaken here. Look, both teams look fantastic. And I think for me with the Knicks, they were undoubtedly good during the regular season, far, far from dominant. I think they had like something like a 15-13 record after the All-Star break. They generally beat the teams they were supposed to, but they have gotten hot and have been on fire during the course of this postseason here. I think momentum is on their side. One of the reasons why I'm picking them. So no, that wasn't the great analysis in the entire world. But look, I'll let you talk about your prediction here, because I think you got the Pacers, correct?
Yeah, I like the Pacers in 7, and that has nothing to do with the fact that they're up 3 in overtime right now.
Okay.
With 15 seconds, I'm watching on my phone right now.
Yep.
Wow, our friend Dave is a lifetime Knicks fan.
Yes.
Longtime friend of ours. He's got to be shitting his pants right now. I feel really bad for Dave.
I know
this sucks, and I would love to take the Knicks, but I just think the Pacers are a better team, top to bottom. I think their path to the conference finals was tougher than the Knicks. I think the Celtics are a damn good team, but the Pacers just wiped out the Cavs, the top seed and one of the best teams in basketball all year long.
Yeah.
And I think people just kind of like, yeah, but the Pacers, it's like, dude, they crushed the Cavs, and like just completely eviscerated them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've got a player like Tyrese Halliburton as well, who he's had like two winning shots, basically game-winning shots in the postseason. He's averaging like 17.5 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, playoff high 9.3 assists, which, I mean, he's part of that relentless offense that the Pacers do have. But, you also look at what Jalen Brunson has done, his consistency over these games within this postseason. And he's another reason why I think the Knicks can actually get to that next level, along with Karl Anthony Towns too. I mean, the chemistry I think that the Knicks have here during the postseason, I just wasn't expecting it. Like I said, they weren't killing it. They were a middling team after the All-Star break. They weren't killing it. I wasn't even sure that they were going to get past the first round, to be honest with you. But now the chemistry really seems to be there from that postseason standpoint. Again, another reason why I'm picking them. So, you want to move over to the West here?
Well, just real quick. I mean, they're going to win. Pacers are going to win by 3 points. That's a massive game 1 victory. They were down 7 points in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
We're going to come back and win by 3 points in overtime in MSG, which that place had to be insane tonight.
Yeah.
And to go in and just rip the heart out of those fans like that is a tough place to start for the Knicks in game 2. And just real quick, and looking at the box score, like the Pacers have been doing this all postseason. They have 7 guys in double-digit scoring. They have guys like Ben Mathurin, who didn't really do well tonight offensively.
Yeah.
But him and Nemhart and Naismith, they're just mean and nasty players, kind of like the Pistons have, but they also have scoring, unlike the Pistons did.
Yeah.
And they like the Knicks can oftentimes become just the Towns Brunson show. And that's kind of what happened tonight. Like they didn't score a whole shit ton of points beyond those 2.
Yeah.
Whereas Indiana kind of spread it out across 7 players. I just think they're the more well-balanced team. And this is a huge game. If I knew this, I'd probably pick them in 6 games, to be honest with you, because the sixth game is in Indiana. So
yeah, I can see it. Look, I can see it. I really could. That my gut was telling me Knicks. But of course, after this game 1, I mean, wouldn't surprise me at all if the Pacers won in 6 games. What about in the West? I mean, I'm thinking we're both going to be on the same page. OKC, after they completely demolished the T-Wolves, my God, I mean, they just absolutely murdered. I'm thinking that series was going to go in 7 games. That actually could go in 6, but I was initially thinking 7 games because, I mean, we saw what the T-Wolves have done so far this postseason, and very formidable. But, man, after last night's ass whooping, I don't know. That may have taken something out of the T-Wolves, some steam out of their engine there.
Yeah, and the fact that OKC took them 7 games to beat Denver. On the surface, you're like, man, they should have beat them in 5 games. But Denver has Jokic. Denver has playoff pedigree. And the fact that, they came back from game 6 with in a loss to then win game 7,
Yeah.
And the way they won game 7, they just wiped Denver off the court. And that, like, when they lost game 6, I think I text you guys after, like, during game 6, I'm like, OKC is going to have to, like, grow some balls here, or this is going to be one of those classic, like, Jordan's not ready to beat the Pistons yet.
Right.
And Pistons weren't ready to beat the Lakers yet, like that whole, or the Celtics, right?
Yeah.
And like, and they came out in game 7 and won by like 35 points
Yeah.
in game 7. And then the T-Wolves have time to prepare and rest. And they're up by 4 points in the third quarter. OKC makes one adjustment, maybe two defensively. They went small, really smart. And because Naz Reid's been playing like shit, so why not go small? And within like 10 minutes of real time, they're up by 10. And then they go on to win by almost 30 points. Down 4 in the middle of the third quarter, just with simple adjustments. They just have way more personnel. They have way more draft pick. Like, they're just a better run franchise.
Yeah.
But like the personnel now, what's scary about them is, like, say they go on to just destroy the T. I think they're going to be. I think they're going to beat the T-Wolves by like probably 5 games is probably my prediction.
Okay.
I didn't like how the T-Wolves looked at all. Anthony Edwards overturned his ankle. Didn't like how his shooting was going. Julius Randle was holding them up, and I never trust Julius Randle for as much like far as I can throw him. But just watching that first game, I'm like, man, this feels like just full example in front of me, like what's going to happen this whole series. Like the T-Wolves could not just stay with OKC, and OKC is so frightening if they go and win the title this year, which I think they're going to.
I think so. Yeah,
they have draft picks, capital, money to throw around that they could. With all of the teams like on the second apron, they owe $200 million in tax money next year. This team's like destined to go like 5-6 years with this squad if they want to. If they don't want to, they'll just draft somebody else, pay them less money, and do just as well, as long as they keep like the stars around.
Yeah, this may be the beginning of a dynasty. And look, Jalen Williams is probably pissed off because the NBA fined him $25,000 for the T-shirt thing. Jesus.
I think after last night's performance and the contract he's going to get, like, he is a beast. They just have beasts up and down the roster. There's guys playing 15 minutes. I'm like, he should play 30. He played 30 minutes for the Sixers, no doubt.
Yes, exactly. It's. You look at where these teams are and where the Sixers are at, and it's a good segue into where
that was on purpose. Yeah.
Where the Sixers are going to be going. Look, the number 3 overall pick, nothing to sneeze about. The debate is, who they're going to take. Is it actually going to be Ace Bailey? Are they going to trade the pick? I don't think, just based on reports that have come out, I don't think the Sixers are going to trade the pick. And I don't think they're going to trade it for some star veteran player like KD. In fact, our friend of the show, Sean Bernard, and I were talking about it this past week on the Table Talk Show. You can go back and check out that podcast. I don't think that's going to happen. I think this team wants to start thinking younger. And maybe that's just my thought process on this, Eric, because they have to get younger. When you have Paul George and Joel Embiid, I feel like Embiid's been around for 30 years at this point, and his body certainly probably feels like he's been in the league for 30 years at this point.
It's been 12 years. They drafted him in 2014. So
yeah. So at this point, you have to have more of that young core nucleus. Jared McCain, Tyrese Maxey. You bring in possibly Ace Bailey. That is a pretty sweet core for the future. Now, is it Tyrese Halliburton level? Is it Jalen Brunson level? Probably not. But any other type of acquisitions that are made, if Daryl Morey is smart here, I mean, the question is, could the Sixers actually make a push next season for, I don't know, probably the playoffs, probably, but I don't know. Could they make a push next season, based on what happens during this offseason with acquisitions?
I mean, if you mean a push, like to actually be in the playoffs, I mean, that would be considered a push, right? Considering how awful they were this year.
Yeah.
I think that's totally possible.
Yeah.
The biggest thing about winning number 3 is now they have at least some leverage to maybe do some things, right? They're pretty well capped out. The money is just absurd. Embiid's extension doesn't even kick in yet. It's the worst extension in history. Paul George makes more money than Durant. I was looking at that over the next 3 years. It's outrageous. But I'm not going to focus on that. Like, focus on the young. To get that number 3 pick, save the season, honestly, the upcoming. It saved that entire tank and the upcoming season, because if it had gone to OKC at number 7, we wouldn't be talking about the Sixers right now. It'd be a joke.
Yep.
So the thing I like about it is they do have leverage to make a trade if they wanted to. So they have 3. They have the young players. They have the Clippers future first round picks. I mean, who knows how long that team's going to go. Kawhi could get hurt and that team could be shit. But what I'm hoping Morey does, I kind of don't want him to sit at 3 and just take Ace Bailey.
Really?
And
Okay.
Ace Bailey scares me. Ace Bailey, for some reason, to me is like the ultimate wild card. I think he has the biggest potential for bust out of the top 5.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Just because of the way he plays. He doesn't play defense. I know he's young. I'm just, whatever. He can learn to play defense, right? Why didn't he play it at all at Rutgers? Didn't play one lick of defense.
Yeah.
I know he was in a shitty offense, but he still put up 18 points a game. His game just, I don't know. He's a long wing. He shoots well. He just has like busty potential. I think Morey's probably more in love with VJ Edgecombe from Baylor. In terms of today's NBA, he's 6'5", 190 pounds, ridiculous athlete, can get to the rim like your Jalen Brunsons, your Tyrese Halliburtons, right?
Yeah.
He's more in line with what the NBA does now. I know we have Maxey and McCain. McCain's a shooter, and Edgecombe can shoot. What I like to do is either they just sit and take Edgecombe at 3, or the teams that kind of fell out of the top 3 or 4 and are just kicking themselves now, like Utah or the Pelicans, right? They have some good veteran players, but still young. Just trade out from like number 3 to like number 7 for like a Herb Jones.
Okay.
Like throw in like I heard this trade multiple places. Like trade number 3 and Kelly Oubre for Herb Jones and number 7. You still get Trey Johnson, a good guard, good shooting guard, or you get the kid at Duke, Knuble, and you get Herb Jones, who's an elite defender. He's proven in the NBA, averages like 15 points, can shoot the 3, but a phenomenal defender, a better version of Paul George than Paul George is now. But it's something like that, or even like a Lauri Markkanen from the Utah for number 6. Like just swap it. Like you're not going to go wrong with bringing in a really good, you say veteran. These kids they're like 26, 27 years old still.
Yeah, I know.
So and you're still going to get a 6th or 7th pick of the draft. That's what number 3 did for this franchise, and I think that's what's going to vault them into the playoffs. It's not going to be with Embiid. I don't think you even see Embiid next year until like he had knee surgery.
I know.
30, like a few months ago.
Yeah.
What did we give Paul George? The Ghost, like what the fuck was it? The Ghost Award? Like we have no idea who he is, where he is, what he's doing. I'm just looking at the core, and it doesn't involve those 2, the most expensive guys on the team. So we're fucked in that regard. But like I do think with the team they have, with Maxey, with whatever they bring in, and McCain, and like the pieces they have, they could probably make the playoffs because the East is going to be worse next year. Easily, because if Giannis goes to the West, even worse than you can imagine.
Yes, absolutely.
And no Tatum next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, getting all emotional there. Oh my gosh, the microphone.
We're going to the finals next year. No.
Oh my gosh. All right, great discussion. Let's move on before we get to our interview and discussion this week with Liz Roscher from the Hittin Season podcast. Talk about this Phillies team as we close things up here before the break. This is a team that's sitting in first place in the NL East right now. Just want to give some quick thoughts on what we've seen from this team, how the season is going thus far. I mean, and I'm going to get into this with Liz, of course, too, but so many questions. Even from a pitching standpoint, the pitching has certainly seemed to stabilize from a starting pitching standpoint. The bullpen, still so many questions. I feel like, they just don't have a good handle on things, and especially after now Jose Alvarado with his suspension, what the heck is going to happen? Like the whole next man up theme is going to be very prevalent over these next weeks and months. Who is going to step up? The trade deadline, of course, is going to be, I think, very imperative in terms of the bullpen. They're going to need to bring in some sort of piece, Eric. But overall, this is a team that's playing well. And like, I feel like there's not the excitement that there should be. They're in first place in the NL right now. The Mets have faltered a little bit here and there over the past week and a half or so. And this team has been consistent. They're beating teams that they need to beat as well. That's a key component of baseball in general. The Phillies are having a darn good season, in my opinion, so far.
Jeff, they're the top team in the National League.
Yes. Yes.
Second to Detroit in all of baseball.
Like, I feel like the
can't.
fan base like isn't there though. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there's sectors of this fan base are like, man, they should be more dominant and stuff. And you kind of hear it and see it. And then yes, it's on stupid Twitter and X, but
just shut the fuck up, fans. I mean, I know this is a Philadelphia sports show for the fans, but shut the fuck up.
Yes, I know.
But that's what the show's about. Like hooray, hooray, or shut the fuck up. Like it's just
yeah.
But I mean, I'm going through the stats right now as a team. I mean, for all the complaining we do about Trey Turner, right? He's averaging 305. He's our top hitter. It's not even close.
Yes.
Schwarber's having Babe Ruth type home run numbers.
Which, by the way, for his age and his career, he's
It's
like had this
unbelievable.
Resurgence, like this second resurgence of his career. It's incredible.
Let's just not test his blood. Let's just let it go. Let it ride. I'm not. There's nothing happening. But yeah, I just incredible. Castellanos has been solid. Stott and Baum are finally like kind of heating up a little bit.
Yeah.
Thank the Lord for Wheelers, Luzardo, and Sanchez. I mean, our starters are just. Aaron Nola is done. Apparently, I didn't get the memo that he's cooked. His career's over. He has been horrendous this year. Like
yes.
Like John Lieber 2007 bad, like 2006 bad, like the worst. He's horrendous. Like every time he goes out there, I'm like, should we do this?
I wonder how long. Yeah, how long is he going to be?
Can Taylor Walker pitch instead?
Yes,
I'm begging for Walker.
I know. He's playing. He is pitching well this year.
He absolutely is, and I mean, Suarez is pitching poorly, but he also had some injuries. Like maybe he'll bring it back, but you're right though. I mean, besides Strom and besides Alvarado, who we're not going to see him no more.
Yeah.
Here, I mean, they don't have much in the way of pitching. Like they're going to have can Painter come up and do some starting down the road?
Yep.
Can the Able kid do it again later this
incredible? Yes.
And can they make some moves for some bullpen relief because they're going to need it now with Alvarado gone?
Yeah.
But they just have. This is kind of like that consistency, like that veteran consistency, and the young guys are starting to heat up. Like this is kind of what you expected offensively, and it does help that you play the Rockies and Pirates back to back. But still, you're supposed to beat the shit out of those teams, and they did. So you're the second best team in baseball. I'm not going to complain. All right,
exactly.
We're like how many games into the season? Like.
Don't complain about it, folks. They quit being jerk-offs.
Listen, I had the Sixers all year, and the Phillies aren't consistent.
I know.
No, I don't want to hear it. It's not cool. Like,
all right. Well, buddy, I'm going to let you go. We're going to talk to Liz Roscher
real quick.
In just a few minutes. Yeah, what's up?
I remember we used to talk to Liz Roscher when she was just for the Hittin Season podcast.
Yeah, she was a writer for Yahoo Sports as well.
Yeah, but now she works for SABR. Like is NASA next? Like what is going on with her resume?
I know her resume is fantastic at this point. Stupid Yahoo Sports let her go for some reason. Now she's with SABR. It's freaking awesome.
It's fun. I think the first time we ever talked to her, she and I realized we were at the same Phillies Mets game. I was there with my family. She was there with her like fiance or something.
Yeah. Now her husband.
Yeah. Now she'd be in a luxury booth. I wouldn't be allowed near it.
Probably
work for SABR and NASA.
Exactly.
Next. Yeah,
you'd be like, "Hey, this is Eric from the Philadelphia Sports Table." She'd say, "Get him out of here."
Do you have my drink? I'm not the waiter. Oh, get out of here.
Get out of my face.
I'm from PST.
Yes. All right, buddy. I am going to let you go, but I'm going to see you in a couple days. You and I got a concert that we're going to be seeing this weekend. We're going to be seeing some metal stuff.
Just say the name of the band, Jeff.
Obituary, folks.
Nice.
Yes.
We couldn't really say the name of the last band we went and saw.
We really couldn't. And Eric can barely wear the t-shirt he got.
I wear it around the house.
Yes.
My kids see me like, Dad.
No, Dad's wearing his shirt again.
Has dirty things on it.
Yes. So yes, buddy, I'll see you in a few days at the show. And we are going to take a quick break, everyone here, and I'm going to pay some bills. We're going to be back in just a bit. All right, and joining us now to talk about this Philadelphia Phillies team, how the season has been going, and to get into a robust discussion about who are the Philadelphia Phillies, we have from the Hittin Season podcast, and she's over at SABR as well. If you don't know, folks, what SABR is, it is the Society for American Baseball Research. She's fantastic. We love having her, Ms. Liz Roscher. How you doing, Liz?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I've been enjoying this season, to believe it or not. I mean, ups and
Yeah.
downs. They're in first place right now. How can we not enjoy the season?
With my goodness, it's they've looked good.
Yes.
I mean, they're not playing the Yankees, but they're supposed to beat bad teams. That's the point, and we're
Yes.
supposed to and allowed to enjoy that.
It was like last year when they had that amazing, first half of the season. So they're like, well, they're beating bad teams. Well, yes, your good teams are supposed to beat bad teams, and when you're playing a good team, it's supposed to be a competitive game. That's what's supposed to
Yes.
happen in sports, right?
That's exactly right.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, let's get into the topic and the theme here, Liz, which is, who are the Phillies here? Because there are questions about who and what aspects of this team, who they are, what their identity is. But of course, we need to really talk about the bullpen because of the big story from this past week. Of course, talking about Jose Alvarado, his suspension, what it means for this Phillies bullpen and the team overall. It's a huge loss, to say the least. I know you all have talked about it over at the Hittin Season podcast already. Tons of other folks talking about this as well in terms of not just how it affects the Phillies, how it may affect the NL East, and just where this team goes in the future. I mean, we can assume they're probably going to be looking to acquire a closer before the trade deadline at this point. Who knows? I think they probably will. Wondering, what are your thoughts, Liz, on what happens with the bullpen as a result of Alvarado's suspension here?
Well, the news isn't amazing, I'd say.
No.
There's some guys that we don't really trust. Tanner Banks, I think, has been a little bit better of late, but I don't trust him.
Right.
Orion Kerkering is still having a rough time. Let's see. Matt Strom has been a little bit steadier. He's been looking good, but there's Joe Ross. I keep forgetting who that is.
I know, me too.
I don't think I've seen Carlos Hernandez in like a week and a half.
It's been a while. Yep.
I'm looking at some of the other names on the baseball reference just to make sure I get anybody. And I'm like, who is Max Lazar? I don't know who that is. He's been in one game.
One game, that's it. We're probably going to end up seeing him
it.
maybe a little bit more. Who knows what's going to happen here? But this is significant, not having Alvarado in this bullpen.
Yeah, he was the one guy that you knew that Rob Thompson trusted. Even if he sometimes gave you reasons not to, he was the one guy that Thompson always trusted.
Yes.
And he was the guy he'd always slot at the end of the game, or if it was a real difficult 7th or 8th inning, he'd call him in then because he knew that Alvarado's speed could get it done if he could just overcome the control issues.
Right.
Now things aren't quite as rosy. It's hard to figure out who's going to slot in where.
Right.
And I don't think Rob Thompson has been too strict over the past couple of years about bullpen roles. Like, he has a couple of guys I remember from last year and the year before, a few guys he'd like to use near the end of the game, a few guys he'd use, if a start was short, 1 or 2 guys he'd be okay with long relief. And it's a little bit more amorphous this year. It's a big wobbly jello thing. And
I feel like it's throw something against the wall here at this particular point in time during the game and let's see if it sticks. I feel like we're seeing a lot of that this year.
Exactly. And this is sort of the time to figure that out. Right now, like, they're playing the Rockies right now. I'll admit, I don't know how the A's are doing. That's who they play after, but they play the A's next in a minor league field. It's the second time this year they've played in a minor league stadium. And they did pretty well against the Rays. They're not the same team, but this is the time where it's going to be okay for Thompson to sort of figure out, all right, let's decide that this is Jordan Romano week and let's see how he performs at the end of games.
Yes.
This is, we're going to eventually they'll have to figure out something to do with Taijuan Walker. Who knows?
Right.
They'll have to figure out what to do with him, since I don't think, if they include him in a trade, my guess is that if they trade for someone at the deadline, they'll include Taijuan Walker as a salary dump and make that like a condition of the trade. And I wouldn't mind that because he is sort of the odd man out sometimes. So I've been impressed with how he's done for the most part.
Yeah. And I think that, up until the trade deadline, he could be that integral part of the bullpen, but it leads to that question of, what is the identity of this bullpen? We just said, they're trying to just throw some stuff at the wall in certain game situations and seeing what sticks. I don't necessarily think that's going to work for postseason success. So they're trying to figure it out right now, like you said. But really, what is the identity of this bullpen, in your opinion here, Liz? What are your thoughts?
Constant terror.
Yeah.
I would say that, I mean, right now they don't have their identity is Jose Alvarado got popped,
Yeah.
and that's kind
Yeah.
of their identity. No one's thinking beyond that if they're not a Phillies fan.
Yes.
And so I think they are going to use the next couple of weeks to figure that out. They do
Yeah.
have to figure something out. And I trust Dave Dombrowski to get it done.
Dave Dombrowski, I think for the most part, Liz, has really done a good job in terms of baseball evaluation and whether it's the scouting team and department, but his overall decision making. Look, there's no GM, there's no player personnel person in Major League Baseball that's going to be 100% all the time, and they're not going to hit all the time. But Dave Dombrowski, I think in general, over the years he has been here in Philadelphia, has done a pretty damn good job making sure that the acquisitions that are brought in are contributing to the way they thought that they were possibly going to contribute to the team. Of course, there have been a few farts here and there, okay? There absolutely have been. But again, nobody is perfect. Dave Dombrowski, I think, is a pretty good front office personnel for where this team needs to go in the direction he's taken the team.
Absolutely. If this team made he had a year of an evaluation year, and he did a couple of things then, but pretty much right after that, he dove right in and he
Yeah.
made changes that this team needed. He provided stability. He made sure that, the guys on the field were talking to the guys in front of the computers, and they were talking to, the GMs and assistant GMs, and everyone's communicating, and make sure that everyone down in the minors is on the same page.
Yeah.
Like that in and of itself is such a huge improvement. And I think you can see it with the Phillies having gotten really positive contributions from
Yes.
minor league guys over the past couple of years. I mean, we
Absolutely.
just saw Mick Abel have a great start. Cody Clemens would come up every now and then. Weston Wilson. There are more guys I'm forgetting, but those are the ones that jump to mind that are products of I would say, a good minor league system. Because even if not
Yeah.
all of them are Phillies prospects.
Right. How about Bryson Stott too coming up? And I mean, he was in AAA. I was watching him in AAA for a while.
Yes, that is, I mean, him and Alec Boehm are also really big wins. And I think the fact that they were able to make it to where they were and then catch on so easily to what Dombrowski was having everybody do, it just shows how great their talent level is.
Yeah.
And why they've both been able to stick in the majors. I will
Absolutely.
stand here and take everyone's praise for being absolutely right last year when I constantly said this seems like a 1-year thing for Stott. Just give it some time.
Right.
And it's true. He was injured and now he's back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, we're going to get into some of the batting, some of the offense that we have seen from some of these guys who are starting to become veterans on this team here, who we deem to be veterans. But I wanted to stick with the pitching here with you, Liz, because the starting pitching here has been very, very interesting this 2025 season in terms of who is this Phillies team and the theme that we're talking about here. We've seen some pieces of success when it comes to certain pitchers. You mentioned Mick Abel, his call up, and my gosh, what an amazing first major league debut for that gentleman. Taijuan Walker, you mentioned before, they both performed well. You've got Zach Wheeler, Christopher Sanchez, Jesus Luzardo having really nice seasons. But, when you look at the pitching overall, which has done and fared very, very well, I'm wondering your thoughts on the identity of this starting pitching this season when we talk about, that phrase, who are they? What are your thoughts here, Liz?
I think they're a pretty fearsome bunch.
Yeah.
They're not a rotation that any team likes to see coming.
Yep.
Because right now they've got 3 guys that are just absolutely mowing guys down. 2 of them, Zach Wheeler and Jesus Luzardo, are on the leaderboards for all of baseball. You go to the Baseball Reference leaderboards right now, and you could see Wheeler's name and Luzardo's name on there.
Yep.
I mean, Luzardo actually is I think it depends. I haven't checked since his last start, but last time I saw, Luzardo had like a slightly higher pitcher WAR. He actually still does. He has a higher pitcher WAR than Zach Wheeler, which is nuts.
That is crazy.
Like what every season, Dave Dombrowski has made one acquisition, one trade, one something that has really changed and helped the team. And this year it's Luzardo, which is just a brilliant move. I don't even remember who they gave up for Luzardo. I don't care.
Yes, I don't even remember either. But look, I mean, this isn't pitching either. Like we were talking about with Dave Dombrowski, I think he deserves a lot more credit at times than what he gets. But let's look at our good friend and mutual buddy, John Stallness, and his takes on Max Kepler before the season. And look, Max Kepler hasn't been the greatest baseball player necessarily this season, but he's been a productive member of this team so far. I didn't actually mind it. I don't mind what's going on. But like you said, Dave Dombrowski doing a damn good job bringing these guys in. And the fact that pitching was such the concentrated effort during this offseason, I think we're seeing the fruits of that really coming to fruition here.
Absolutely. It's nice to know that there's some kind of plan with everyone.
Yes.
Like everyone was so frustrated when Andrew Painter lost 2 years, but the Phillies didn't panic. They said, listen, this kid has talent and we know it. We've we've developed it. So he's going to get this done and he's going to come back better. It'll be frustrating, but this is our plan. Like they actually willingly shared a plan or like parts of a plan, which is not something that the Phillies have done in the past. And I think it just shows how much they care about, him as a prospect and all the work that they've put in. And that they're never getting ahead of themselves. They've made the decisions that have to be made and they're just going to stick with it and go. Not that they're, calcified in their ways, but they know a good plan and they're just sticking to it. It's kind of overwhelming to see our team act so well.
Exactly. Make good decisions being made, people producing, as Phillies fans throughout our entire lives, this is a new thing over these past few years for sure.
Absolutely.
Again, folks, we're talking to Liz Roscher from the Hittin Season podcast, and she is over at SABR as well, doing some good work. Search her out on Blue Sky, Liz Roscher. I follow her there. Fantastic follow. I post the show over on Twitter/X every now and then. Are you still over there at all or not?
I keep my account there just because I can't get rid of it. I mean, even though my husband's account his original account has been suspended, that's where my husband and I met. And so we met on Twitter. And so I can't get rid of my account. I'll never leave. As I said, I'll never leave this place.
Yeah,
as horrible as it is, but I do not go there routinely. Like I went there to post my recent job news, and like it was incredible the change in reach.
Absolutely. We could do a whole show on that, but we're talking about the Phillies.
Yes, we are.
We're talking about the Phillies here. So moving along with the conversation, I want to talk about the bats now. Moving over to them, and I want to kind of divvy these guys up here in terms of who is this Phillies team and what the identity is. And I want to really dissect the players who I think we could describe as the true star veterans on this team. I'm talking about Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, JT Realmuto. I'd even, hesitate to put Nick Castellanos in this group. So when you look at this group of gentlemen, in terms of their offensive productivity here, these star veteran players, as a whole, Liz, who are they when it comes to this offense and this batting?
They are becoming more consistent. They're becoming more consistent. I don't think as Kyle Schwarber was in that group, but I'd put him in there for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's been he's been sort of the canary in the coal mine for the veterans on the whole. Bryce Harper's been having. I mean, I didn't realize he's hitting 272. I still remember when he was hitting much less than that. And it just sort of picked up in an instant, which is what he does and who he is. His power still isn't great. And I still think that is a result of his elbow surgery from a few years ago. Yeah. And almost certainly his desire to get back as soon as humanly possible.
Yes.
It's a decision that was made. And whether or not I agree with it, it's immaterial now. but I'm glad to see him doing better. And I think it's probably time for me, at least. Everyone else can do what they want. For me, at least, to kind of stop expecting the power to come back and just sort of
Yeah.
enjoy what he is, because he's great still. He's still an incredible player. Like, he's been able to pull his batting average up without a whole ton of like power. And I think
Right.
that's
Right.
great.
What about the almost what I'd like to call the almost stars on this team? On the flip side of things, we want to look at the offense from the players on this team. Again, they're not veteran stars, but they're important to the team's success. Players like Bryson Stott, Alec Bohm, Brandon Marsh, even like I mentioned earlier, Max Kepler as well. When we start asking that question of like, who are they? How would you describe this crop of guys and the talent that they have brought to the team this year?
I think it's outstanding. I mean, both Stott and Alec Bohm are keeping their averages looking pretty good. Bryson Stott's on base percentage is climbing. Neither of them are powerhouses, but they've been able to knock one or two at really opportune times.
Yeah.
As for the rest, I don't know if I'd put them in the same group as Alec Bohm and Bryson Stott.
Right.
Max Kepler hasn't been a massive disappointment in that he's hitting above the Mendoza line and has 5 home
Yes.
runs.
Yep.
I would say, I mean, I wouldn't call it a win, but I'd call it calling it neutral seems a little too petty.
Pleasantly surprised,
Pleasantly
perhaps.
surprised. There's still room for him to do better. He's hitting 290, 229 with a 312 on base, which is not great.
Not good at all.
But like, they've been able to contribute important things at important times. And I think that's what this team is sort of getting, that like the 08 team had, those teams in that era. It's that not everyone's going to be able to get it done every night, but
Right.
we need to make sure, there's going to be someone every night who's going to be able to try hard or to pull us over the line. Sometimes it's Schwarber hitting 2 home runs, and putting the team on his back. Sometimes it's Harper hitting a bunch of doubles. Sometimes it's Bryson Stott, going 3 for 5 with, a triple and a home run.
Yep.
It's everyone has a part to play, and everyone knows that they can contribute anytime at any point. And that's what those teams had. You knew that someone was always going to step up, or at least try to step up and make the difference so they can win the game. And I think we've seen that a lot over the past few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely correct. Liz, before I let you go, my friend, I want to talk about one particular individual, and he doesn't get into the batter's box, doesn't run around the bases, doesn't play defense at all, but he's an important component of who this Phillies team is when we're talking about who are the Phillies. Want to get into the manager, Rob Thomson. And with that theme we've been discussing here, who are the Phillies? How does Rob Thomson, as the manager of this team, really fit into the equation here, in your opinion?
He's definitely more background even than he was last year. And
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad thing. If the team seemed like they were floundering without leadership or whatever it is, like, I don't know if there's like a clubhouse leader. I know Schwarber sort of takes a role in Castellanos occasionally, but it feels sort of like this year, Thompson is like, everybody knows what their job is. I don't have to tell anybody what they're supposed to do, because everybody already knows. Everyone's, coming to work, going to their lockers, doing all of their exercises, doing everything they should, and coming back. My job is to put stuff, put guys in the game and take them out. And there have been times he's made some puzzling decisions, but by and large, I've been happy. By and large, I've been really happy with how he's done this year. I was looking again on their baseball reference page at, they've had 15 players play positions this year. And I'm just used to this list being so much longer.
Yes.
And by the end of the season, it'll definitely be longer. But he's been able to take advantage of the stability and move guys around, which in the past he did not like doing. We would see the same lineup. And I know that even the Phillies, even Thompson, who's been switching lineups, the Phillies still have, I think, used the least amount of different lineups. But I think that's because he's comfortable with where guys are. He knows that the guys are comfortable with where they are. And unless there are going to be major, major issues with how they're hitting, then there's no reason to change them except for, this reason or that reason. So
Yeah.
I think it's a positive. And
Yeah,
I think
I
he's been
absolutely
great.
do. He's continuing to grow. And I think you want that with any manager in baseball, with any coach in any sport. And it's really nice to see that he's continuing with that growth, with this Phillies team that we have a lot of high hopes for this season. So that being said, folks, she's Liz Roscher. You can hear her awesome voice as well over on the Hittin Season podcast. And she is also doing great work over at the Society for American Baseball Research, SABR. Liz, thank you so much, my friend, for taking the time. It was great talking to you. Great seeing you. And come back, join us. And I'd love to get into more Phillies and more baseball talk with you.
Absolutely. But hey, good news. The Tush Push survived.
Yes, I know. Eric and I were talking about that earlier. It's awesome. And yes, to pull back the curtain, Liz and I are talking about this probably about an hour and a half after
it
we got
happened.
the news.
But I was just
Exactly.
too excited. I haven't talked to anybody about it. I just wanted to
know.
dance around for a minute.
It's fantastic. You know what? All those teams that decided, and those owners, those 10 votes that said, no, we want to ban it. Try to stop it. How about that? Try to stop the Tush Push. Get to that next level yourselves. Try to stop it. The Eagles have worked hard to get to where they are at to perfect an NFL play. A lot of teams around the NFL work hard to perfect certain things. Eagles have done it in this regard. Try to work hard and perfect stopping it. That's what I say. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Those 22 owners that looked at the Tush Push, those 22 owners that voted in favor of it, looked and said, well, we have something like this that we've done, or there's no reason why we can't do this. Why would we not want to? It's a really good football play. And that's how they voted. Like it shows that that all of the crap we've been hearing about the Tush Push is coming from like just one small group of guys. It probably I would love to see who. I don't know if we know for who voted no, but I'd love to see. And if we don't, I could take some guesses because it's almost certainly a lot of bad teams.
Yes,
whiny
absolutely.
Owners.
Absolutely. Great way to end this show. Again, folks, she is Liz Roscher. Find her over on Blue Sky. Just search her out, and she's a great, great follow. Again, I would love to have you on the show at some other point down the road, Liz. Join us whether it's over the summer. I'd love to have you back.
Absolutely. Anytime. I still don't have full-time work. Hire me.
There you go. Hire her. Here we go, folks. That's going to do it for us, and we'll catch you on the next podcast.